Hey guys, Ryan Patterson with Vexus Boats here. I'm standing on our VX20, and if you've got a second, I'd like to walk you through some of the new features that we've incorporated into this model. We're going to start at the bow and kind of work our way back at the boat. But the first thing that I'd like to talk about when we look at the front of this boat is we've got a dual Victor bracket. Dual electronics seem to be more and more popular with forward-facing sonar, and at Vexus you've got the power of choice. So you've got the ability to mix and match different electronics brands if you'd like, and also dual stack units up here. So one of the things that we wanted to innovate up here was having our own dual stack bracket. So this is our dual Victor bracket up here at the bow, and this is actually going to sit down inside our bow cockpit cutout that we have here at the front. So we can accommodate two 12-inch units up here. Now underneath that, we're also going to have tool storage as well. So in addition to this dual Victor bracket, we've got integrated bow lights. We've got our trim up here for the motor. We've got the ability to turn our nav lights on and off. Big spacious front deck where two anglers can operate throughout the day if we're fishing off our electronics. So a lot of nice roomy features for the angler to enjoy throughout the day. As we kind of work our way back here on the front deck, there's a few things from a custom standpoint that I appreciate. We've got two pedestal bases right here. So let's say if an angler is a little bit taller, maybe a little bit shorter, we've got the ability to have your bike seat where you're able to access your recessed tray throughout the day. Moving back towards the cockpit, one of my favorite parts of this boat is the storage. So if you look at every one of our storage boxes, we've got a nice raised lip around every box to keep water, if it's introduced to the deck, out of this storage box. So you'll notice there's a dedicated drain at the front of it and a channel dedicated at the back of it right here. So if we're encountering some waves or if it's a rainy day, we've got a way to evacuate that water off the front deck. Looking down inside of these storage boxes, the first thing you're going to notice is not only are they very cavernous, really big, but they have zero carpet on the inside of them. We want to get that mold, mildew, not give it a chance to be introduced. You'll notice in our port rod box, we've got a shelf. And so that's something that I like to utilize with it, is putting everything with treble hooks, whether it's a lure retriever or, you've got the ability to separate some rods and reels up here on the shelf. Maybe it's the first two you're getting out that morning that they can sit up here. Now from there, we've got an open boot where you can comfortably stack 35 to 40 rods on this port side rod box. So a lot of storage here to carry as many rods as you'd like to have throughout the day. So we kind of transition over here into the center storage box. It's important to point out that every one of these boxes in this boat has got a striker plate. So inevitably sometime throughout the day, if we happen to have the latch fall down on top of this striker plate, it's not going to chip our gel coat or the finish at the top of our box. When you look down inside the center storage box, we've got dedicated rod tubes going forward here where you've got the ability to really put 12 rods in here if you'd like. We've got a divided tackle storage that can be removable as well. So if you'd like to customize the way you stack your tackle in this center storage box, you've got the space to do so. If you'd like to use the divider, it's in there as well. On the VX20, we have one continuous storage box that's going to come all the way down the starboard side of the boat. And so this is a great place to put life jackets, helmets, just a lot can be put in here along with tackle as well. Once again, big raised lip, striker plate with a drain here at the front of the box. Every one of our lids has got a shock on it inside this boat, so it makes it really easy when we're getting stuff in and out of the boat throughout the day that we've got a nice sturdy shock system. Something else that I really like about our lid system on the inside of this boat is we've kind of got a diamond front at the front of every one of these lids. And inevitably throughout the day when you're getting into either the port or the starboard storage box on this boat, you're gonna have rods and reels out, and something that we always used to worry about in the past was accidentally dumping those into the lake. But with the shape of the front of these lids, it actually pushes the rods and reels to the side, makes it to where they'll stay inside the boat and you're still able to access all your gear inside these storage boxes. The other thing that you'll notice on the front deck of these boats is we use stainless steel locks on every lid opening throughout this boat. And that's just kind of a sturdy, dependable, reliable lock that we'll use here. Now, the other thing to point out as well is we've got aluminum stamped carpet trim all the way around the outside of this boat. So that's going to not only look great, but hold up to the elements quite well over the life of your ownership of this boat. One of the things that you'll notice in the cockpit, front deck step, center rod box lid, and then off the top of the coolers, we're going to have a non-carpeted polyethylene material. And what that's for is these high traffic areas that the angler's going throughout the day. This is going to hold up to the wear. It's going to clean extremely well. This particular boat was fished out of yesterday in a tournament. We'll be able to take this to the car wash, spray it out, and 20 seconds later, we've got a clean, dry material that looks just the same as it did the day we picked the boat up. Now, as you work back to the front deck step, first and foremost, we've got integrated tool storage right here. So if you're spending a lot of time sitting here retying throughout the day, your tools are here at a finger's touch to be able to be accessible. And then underneath this step, we've got a great place to put cell phone, wallet, keys, sunglasses, can double as a day box. So just a really functional drawer underneath here that an angler can access, you know, whether going up to the front deck or whether sitting here working on tackle. It's a great place to put a number of things in this boat. This particular boat has got a stereo option installed on it, so you'll notice the head unit will sit right here underneath the driver's console, and then the speakers for this stereo are actually going to mount on the front side of this cooler. So not only is it going to sound great, but you've got the ability to run this Bluetooth off your phone, or if you're wanting to run it by the touch, you can sit here on your front deck step and access that. Now, something to talk about in the cockpit of this boat is you'll notice that I've got quite a bit of room to walk around here, and the reason for that is the fuel tank on this boat is in the floor, okay? And what that does is that opens up the opportunity to have Airwave seat pedestals mounted on each side of the cooler. We're sitting here on these Airwave pedestals that can be adjusted for your weight, essentially, to make sure that we don't ever bottom out, but we also don't ever get thrown up out of it. It's a nice, comfortable ride right here. One of the things that I really like about this co-angler running rod rack area is that you've got a lot of customization that you can choose. So first and foremost, you've got the ability to have a passenger console sitting right here in front of you if you'd like. You've also got the ability to have a low profile handrail that can be chrome or powder coated, but even if you don't want it, we'll leave that off. The other thing that we've incorporated in this boat, it's a recessed floor handle. So if you're a non-boater and we're in some rough water, you've got the ability to hold onto the handrail right here. In addition to having a strap that's recessed into the floor that you can anchor in right here, have a nice comfortable ride if we're in some inclement weather. In between the driver and passenger seats is the cooler, and you know, we've got a big fiberglass cooler that's going to hold ice throughout the day. We've got a dedicated dry box on the driver's side to be able to put your sandwiches, crackers, or anything that you're going to have that you don't want to have introduced to ice throughout the day. On the front of both of those, in front of the cooler right here, we've got recessed cup holders. In addition to being a step going onto the back deck, we've also just got a lot of great space. As we get to the driver's console right here, you know, so there's some things that immediately point out is that we've got a large area to flush mount up to a 16-inch graph that makes it nice and neat. Now on the port side of this console, off here to your left, you're gonna have your coast key ignition system. And what that is, it's a keyless entry into your boat that you can program to any code you'd like to start your motor. In addition to that, it comes with a fob. Now this fob is gonna have a lot of different functions on it where you can essentially trim your motor up and down, turn the interior lights on, or if you'd like, you can start and stop your motor all off your fob. Over here on the starboard side of the console, we've got a place to install your shallow water anchor buttons if you so choose to have those on this boat. And then the lower panel right here has got all your live well functions, interior lights, along with a USB charger and a 12-volt plug. So you've got the ability to access all of your optional accessory switches, all your coast key ignition, and then also offering this year the Merc SmartCraft gauge that'll be mounted on the port side of your console. Now, something else when we're sitting here at the driver's console that's important to point out is we've got adjustable seating right here on all of our Airwave pedestals. We've also got the ability, our bump board is mounted here underneath the driver's seat, so it's out of the way, but also here at a finger's touch to be able to measure the fish right here on top of the cooler before we're putting it in the live well. Now on each side of this cockpit, there's a molded space that is set aside for the net. So on each side we've got the ability to store the net. It has a dedicated place. It's easy to access, and also it's out of your way throughout the day when you're fishing. As we work our way to the back deck here, it's important to point out a couple things. You know, we're going to start right here with the intensive care live well system, and what that is it gives you 2 acrylic plates on each side of your live well, and all throughout the day your fish will rest comfortably in this live well. It's got an oxygenator that comes with it, but something that I really enjoy is, let's just say we're headed back to weigh in and we've got some big recreational traffic. We've got the ability to fill that live well all the way up so there's not any sloshing going on in the live well. So your fish are going to be really comfortable in their entire ride back throughout the day, so they're not going to be beat up and sloshing back and forth. So that's something that we've really worked on here at Vexus, is improving our fish care for these fish when they're inside our live wells. Now flanking each side of this live well, we're going to have really deep storage boxes on each side. So both driver and passenger rear storage boxes are going to be very, very cavernous, much like the lids and the boxes on the front deck. They're both going to have striker plates on them with dedicated drains and channels around them to evacuate water off the back deck. But great place for a co-angler to put all of his tackle back here. Big storage boxes. To go along with these two big storage boxes on each side of the live well, you'll find those same features here in the battery box. So we've got the ability to have a 36-volt system. Your charger is going to be mounted flush here in the center, and then here in front of that charger, this boat's going to come with a toolbox here that you could put your registration paperwork, extra tools. But if you wanted to take that out, we've got the ability to have room for a spare prop right here. So just a lot of things that you can customize inside this battery box. As we work our way back to the transom, one thing that's very unique about Vexus is you have the power of choice on the back of your boat. So any outboard that you choose, we can factory install. And on each side of that outboard, you'll notice here with these shallow water anchors that we don't have to have any brackets. So we've built support into the transom to be able to flush mount those shallow water anchors, so there's not any as much play essentially on each side. So as you can see, bow to stern, this boat has a lot of innovative features and a lot of little things that add up into one big package. And so I invite you to check our boats out at vexusboat.com or visit your local Vexus dealer.